Time for Twins Pod.
Then I'm getting sucked off.
Yeah.
That energy. This is why the UFOs, if there are flying saucers, they don't have a fuel tank because the fuel's all around them.
Right,
everywhere.
right.
And I'm surprised Elon Musk doesn't see this. And I can't decide if he's...
Well, maybe he's playing stupid.
Yeah, I can't decide if he's playing stupid or if he really doesn't know. But you have to look at it from both sides where like even very smart people have a very hard time accepting this because of that brainwashing. Even smart people like Elon Musk
don't want their beliefs challenged.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do not want that.
They don't. And I've talked to people from Congress, and you know they've told me specifically, like they talk to PhDs, and they're like, "This isn't how quantum mechanics works," or whatever. And then I give them all the papers, and I'm like, "Yes, it is how quantum mechanics works." Because some people will say, "Well, you can't extract energy from the 0-point fluctuations." Well, the Casimir effect shows you absolutely can. Robert Forward in 1984 said, "You know, you put two plates together, they will just attract because they push out some of that 0-point fluctuation. Some of the wavelengths can't fit between the plates. It causes a negative pressure." Which is also how we can explain that the 0-point energy is causing what we know as gravity. And Robert Ford said you can turn this mechanical energy into like a battery, basically, and you can extract it. Now, you can't repeatedly do it, but just the fact that you can extract it at all shows there's something there to pull out. And that's where Ken Shoulders came in with the plasma. Is like, well, we don't need plates. The plasma itself naturally creates this asymmetry that we need to pull energy out of there. It's just, that's why it's the fourth state of matter. It's got these weird, unusual properties. So this is where it's like the conventional physics just breaks down. And when you challenge people with this, they have no response. This is why I've challenged physicists, I've challenged investigators, MH370, and they're frankly afraid of me. I mean, they're afraid to talk to me because you know, I'm going to come prepared in any kind of debate or what have you, and I want there to bring more attention to it because that's how we'll wake people up. Even if people are trying to ridicule, which is usually what people do, there are some people out there that are going to wake up from it. This is why I think Elon Musk doesn't comment, because if he were to comment with his 200 million followers, like, how many people do you think get woken up just from that? Even if it's 1%, it's like 2 million people waking up. This is why the mainstream media has never reached out, because even if they try to ridicule me, it's not going to go well for them, and people are going to wake up. This is why physicists and some of these investigators also don't want to do debates with me or platform me either, because they know that some people are going to wake up to it. And so that's why, you know, I'm laying down the gauntlet. Like, you know, if there's people out there that, you know, you want to argue with the physics, like I'm getting to the point now a year later where I'm comfortable even talking to PhD physicists about it. You know?
Yeah, you've been studying this for how long now?
You know, if people think like, oh, you've been doing this for years, but it's just because I put so much time into it. Like every waking moment outside of my 9 to 5, I'm researching mostly now the physics and the engineering side of it. And you have to know the electrical engineering and the physics side to really understand how it fits together, because there is this electrical component to it. But I mostly started the science stuff in November of last year, so not even a full year. The investigation to the plane started August of last year, so a little bit over a year at this point. And then people might ask, well, what do you want to get out of this? You know, like what, because how can the government admit this, you know? Like I think there's a few ways it could go down. Is that the government were to admit it, probably not going to happen, right? Although I would say that President Obama, he knows. Trump probably knows as well, to be honest with you. And they don't want to get JFK'd, most likely, so they're not going to say anything, because the intelligence agencies are the one who really control this country. John Brennan was...
Wow, that's, a lot of people...
Well, John Brennan was the CIA director at the time, so he would know for sure. CIA would be in the know. The director of national intelligence would also be in the know. That was James Clapper at the time, so he knows for sure. The deputy director of the national intelligence was Avril Haines under Obama. She was the one that was justifying giving the legal justifications for Obama to drone strike people in the Middle East and be like, oh yeah, we're going to kill 1 terrorist and 10 civilians, but it's legally justified to do that. Now she's director of national intelligence right now under Biden as well. So these people 100% know, and there's probably a lot more as well that know. But I named these people because I want people to ask them the hard questions, like, what the hell happened to this plane? We know you know what happened to the plane. Why are we hiding technology from the public to put pressure on them? The other ways would be if Edward C. Lynn comes out. Like, this is the guy I've identified as the leaker, 99.9% sure he's the guy. Everything checks out.
He's still alive, right?
Hopefully he's still alive. As far as I know,
Yeah, you're going to get him killed.
I'm trying not to, and this is why I haven't reached out more directly. I did try to call him one time last year, and somebody picked up the phone and hung up right away, which I went, oh,
How the fucker get my number?
it's a lot easier to find people than you guys might think, especially if you have an organization behind you of people that are very dedicated and smart with the internet. Yeah. And I've thought about going to like his house or whatever to try to find him as well. But that's where I'm like, yeah, I feel like I might get black bagged if I do that, right?
Yeah.
And it might put him in danger as well. So, you know, but if he were to come out, that would pretty much prove it's got to be legit as well. And then the last way is the science. So if it turns out that Salvatore Pais really made these orbs, then, you know, there's a world where he comes out and is like, yo, those patents, like you're seeing them in the videos right there in 2014. And they released those patents later on. Why? Because China and Russia already figured it out. So why not release the patents? You know, those patents were from 2016 to 2018. And they say it can't hurt to have those patents on. And it might be, you might also have to say, well, if China and Russia figured this technology out, they don't want them to go patent that technology when we've been hiding it in secret, because then it gets really awkward where you're like, no, we had it figured out before that, but we can't really prove it to you, you know? So you can see, so if he were to come out, that would be big. And the last way is like the science. You prove that the science is real. You prove that 0-point energy really explains gravity and that we can create a wormhole and warp drive. Then how can you deny that the videos are real at that point? That's the thing that's holding people back.
Yeah, they don't look like hoaxes to me. It looks,
Yeah.
And I appreciate your guys' support on that. You know, like it's a lot of people are afraid, honestly, to, you know, platform or to even retweet the content, you know, just because of the sensitive nature of it in general, and they don't want to get ridiculed. Oh, you think those things are real, blah, blah, blah. But
I actually don't give
Dude,
a
I had
shit.
a dude on this show. He believes the Earth is flat.
there you go. The flat earthers loved me when I said that the ether was real. But then when I said, no, like we have to have curvature in order for like warp drives and wormholes, then they hated me again. And I'm like, oh, man, can't win with anybody on either side of this thing, right? Can't win with the mainstream people. Can't win with the people that think the Earth is flat. Like, oh boy.
Yeah, this technology just makes you think like what other technologies out there that we have no evidence of.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think Alex Jones was talking about gene editing.
Yeah.
A goat person, a goat spotter. He was talking about.
Yeah.
It's like really crazy stuff.
And that's the thing too, is like people know that like the military is like decades more advanced than the public.
Right.
The question is, what does that look like?
Right.
What is that, right? I think it's easy to say, well, they probably had AI before we've had it. You know,
Right.
That would have been weird to say in 2014 where everyone thought AI is like 100 years out.
It was a movie kind of thing.
Yeah, but now we see it
Sci-fi.
all over.
Hey, man, I don't feel so good, man.
What's wrong with you?
I'm embarrassed to tell you. I'm just going to tell you, I ain't took a shit in like 2 weeks, man.
Ain't you taking your OH? Your optimal human?
I thought we ran out of it.
Man, here, take this. Here's some right here. Take it. Get it up in you. Drink that. Get that probiotics. That artichoke.
That is good.
That apple powder. All those essential nutrients that get your intestines right. Yeah, get them intestines right. Get it all up in you. Swallow it. There you go. Why are you drinking it like it's Kool-Aid or something? Just
Well,
down
you made it with cold water. I'm over here getting brain freeze.
What's good with cold water? It's like a smoothie.
Oh, man, I feel something move. Oh, man.
Go to optimalhuman.com/Hodgetwins and now try Optimal Human for free today.